Demaryius Thomas, voted by his peers as the 20th best player in the league. Is that the right spot for him? Is that too high? Is it too low? And let me ask you this.
Well,
are you confident that the Broncos are going to sign him to a long-term deal?
No, I'm not. But you have a second part of the question that I was reading. If DT is not signed to a long-term deal, do you worry about his mental state? No, I don't.
I do.
Well, okay, we disagree.
Yeah.
I don't worry about it. Have you ever been in the last year of a contract in your life? We both have signed
Every year I'm in the last year of a contract.
Does that affect your mental state? Do
you still try? A little bit.
Really? When you go on the air, that would affect you.
I'm a worrier. Oh, no, when I go on the air, no. No.
Well, do you care about his mental state?
But that's only 2 hours a day. I've got 22 other hours during the day, and I worry about that.
Well, he's not going to the asylum in
Well, yeah, but
Pueblo.
I'm not saying this. I'm not guessing. I mean, we've seen how if things aren't going perfectly for DT, it affects his game. We saw what happened last year, Woody, when Wes Welker did not play in the first few games. They played Demaryius Thomas in the slot. He wasn't familiar with the slot. He didn't like being in the slot. He ended up dropping a lot of balls. We wondered why he was having so much trouble. And then later in the season, he admitted it was wearing on him and it affected his play. Wow. So if he's not getting a long-term deal here, if he's not getting what he believes he's worth, I think it could impact him mentally. Yeah.
He's a millennial. They don't want to take responsibility for anything. They want to push the blame to someone else, or that the lamp fell off the table by itself. The reason why I'm saying
that's
that.
fine. Whatever the reason is, I still worry about it.
Well, later in the season, if he's going to say, well, I'm just mentally, it wasn't, that's because you were dropping footballs. You're supposed to be a great wide receiver. I don't care where they line you up on the field. I have no sense of concern or worry about Demaryius Thomas.
Well, no, see, but you're saying two different things. You're saying he shouldn't allow it to impact him mentally. I'm saying I think it can because of history. Things like this have impacted him mentally. No, they shouldn't.
He says that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not contradicting myself. He probably would say, I didn't take the cookies out of the cookie jar. Because people of that age don't want to take responsibility for anything that goes wrong. So, should it? Will it? I don't think it will, because he better play his butt off, or he's not going to get any money the next year.
Yeah, he's still making close to $13 million a year.
I say this over and over again, and it's not directed toward you or anybody else. You guys are putting too much worry into this. It'll work itself out.
Worry into what part of it?
Oh, if he doesn't sign by June, well, if he doesn't sign by July 15th, he'll sign by July 30th.
Woody, if I'm a Broncos fan, I would worry that he doesn't get the deal he wants because he's shown to be fragile.
If I were a Broncos fan, I would actually get a life and not worry about whether or not he is mentally weak or whatever it might be. I have seen him a lot more than most of you Broncos fans. I have seen him. He goes to the same place I go, and we've talked. He is not sitting there mentally unstable, like picking up candles and throwing them around like you would on a golf course. He's how old is he? He's 26 now, 27?
Yeah.
My goodness. I'm supposed to worry about, poor guy, he's got a middle. I don't. And that's the truth. I don't. He'll either get $13.8 million. Let's feel really sorry for him. Let's feel really sorry. He's going to be paid like one of the top 5. So was I surprised he was in the top 20? No, there are probably 4 receivers in the top 20, wouldn't you think?
I didn't see the whole list.
Well, they haven't gotten to it.
Let me ask you something.
No, they haven't gotten that far. They've ended it. So don't you think Calvin Johnson is going to be?
Well, I want to ask you: are there any receivers that you would trade Demaryius Thomas for? And if so, who are they?
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe A.J. Green.
Really?
Yeah, maybe. But
Des Bryant?
No, I don't want that package either. I don't want his mental package. Do you want that? He shows up, he doesn't show up, he's going to sign, he's not going to sign. No, they become wide receivers. We're too protect. They become the divas of the league. It used to be running backs. At one point it was quarterbacks, and now wide receivers think they're the divas of the world. Why don't they all go on Dancing with the Stars? I don't care.
Would you trade him?
I don't worry about his mental state. I don't go to sleep at night going, oh, I'm going to wake up all night long worried about Demaryius Thomas and his $13.8 million.
Woody, well, you know, I'm not going to sleep worrying about it either, but I am saying that it has affected him in the past when things haven't gone his way.
No.
He admitted it.
Respectfully, no, he said it. That didn't make it true.
So what are you saying?
Well, he was dropping balls because he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good. Oh, it affected me because I didn't want to play that position. Well, now, then
you don't think that could have affected him? You don't think a discomfort or an unfamiliarity with the position, or just a dislike for the position, could have impacted the way he played?
Shift the blame. Oh, I didn't want to play the position, so it was having an effect on me mentally. Grow up. Grow up.
Okay, that I agree with. Grow up, but that doesn't mean it didn't affect him mentally.
He says. I mean, we're going to go round and round on this over
and over again. What else are we going to rely on? I mean, if the guy says it, I got to believe it.
I think he was dropping balls. I don't think that was mentally. I think physically he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. He was not prepared to play that position, so I think physically he was dropping balls. He's done that during the course of his career. I kind of think we're
saying the same thing.
No, we're not. No, we're not. You're saying he was affected mentally. I don't know. That's what he says. I don't believe everything he says. I don't believe most of what I'm told in sports because they lie to us and then we lie to the fans because we just pass along that if a player says to you, a basketball player saying, I wasn't mentally, I just wasn't in the game last night. Maybe he had gotten drunk the night before. And he's looking for an excuse for why he didn't play very well. Nobody wants to take responsibility in life. They want to go, you know, my car didn't work, so I didn't play very well last night. Well, that's what you're paid to do. You're paid to forget all that stuff and go out and play. So, do we really want a guy?
And some let's can't.
Say that.
Maybe DT couldn't forget about it.
Okay, let's say you're right. Well, then get rid of his ass. Really?
Okay.
I mean, are you in favor of that? If he's so affected mentally,
you're right. Balls. Maybe the Broncos are reluctant to sign him to a long-term deal because they saw fragility in his mental state last year. Maybe they believe they can win without him. How good are the Broncos without Demaryius Thomas?
Okay, but let me repeat this. His agent is not a forefront guy. His agent is a follow-the-leader guy. When Des Bryant signs, he'll sign. I don't know how, I mean, really, I repeat myself all the time, but he's not going to sign first. Des Bryant and Jerry Jones are going to get together, and he's going to give him a $60, $75, $80 million contract, $50 million, and 2 days later he signs.
All right, that's their side of it. I'm asking about the Broncos side.
The Broncos, if I were John Elway, I would franchise him twice and then get rid of him. It has been proven, if you look at the analyticals, everybody's searching for, I'm going off a little bit, but I thought about yesterday when one of the guys we were talking to, that analyticals, everybody wants to be the next movie star, Moneyball. I have discovered the secret to life. You know, it's like you're on top of a peak in Asia somewhere, and people go up there and they go, what is the meaning of life? And he says, it's a bowl of cherries. And you go, I came all the way up here for this? Well, all this analytical stuff, all the analyticals show that wide receivers of his type, of his age group, he has hit his max. He's not going to be better than he's been. They're going to run the ball more. He's not going to be effective. He's concerned about getting a long-term contract because his numbers are going to start to go down now. So if I'm the Broncos, I franchise him twice and then go, hey, bye.
Well, and there are also studies that show you don't need a top receiver to win in this league. Well, because a number of teams have won without Pro Bowl receivers, won Super Bowls.
Who was the top receiver for the Patriots last year?
Gronkowski. But if you're talking wide receivers, Amendola. Is he still with them?
Edelman.
Amendola?
No, Edelman.
Wait, who am I thinking of?
Edelman.
Julian Edelman. Yeah.
Really?
I always get those two.
Really?
Yeah. And for Seattle, the year before, not a Pro Bowl receiver.
Or last year.
Yeah.
I mean, name for me 3 wide receivers from the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, I can name you the top receivers in the league: Des Bryant,
well,
Kelvin Johnson.
You're not doing
Antonio Brown, Demaryius Thomas, A.J. Green. How many of them have Super Bowl rings?
Yeah. And is it possible, Les, that if he signs a $75 million contract, $50 million, that he may not be the best receiver on the Broncos team?
It's possible.
Who would be ahead of him, possibly?
Emmanuel Sanders.
That's right. That's what I was saying. Let him go. Use Emmanuel Sanders. Cody Latimer. The kid, Jordan Norwood. They got a kid on their team that they really liked last year. They sneaked him through and got him on. Bernie Fowler. Bernie Fowler is really impressing people in the offseason. Seems to me like they got a bunch of wide receivers. Demaryius, take your act and go on the road. Go be like Brandon Marshall. How's that worked out for Brandon Marshall? He couldn't wait to get out of here, could he? He wanted to get out of here. He went to Miami. He had a couple of Pro Bowl. He's got a big contract. He was with the Bears. They've gotten rid of him. Now he's with the Jets. And he hates Cutler, but they're working out together this summer. Shows it. Brandon Marshall, how's his career? When he looks back on his career, is he going to say, boy, that was lost. I could have really been a great, great wide receiver. Demaryius, do you want to do that? They took you off the scrap heap. You had a bad ankle. You were playing for a team that did nothing but run the football. Josh McDaniels took a chance on you, and they developed you. Peyton Manning, because under Tim Tebow, you caught like 8 passes, including one to win a playoff game. True?
Didn't get the ball.
Peyton Manning comes along, makes you into a world-class receiver. Peyton Manning could have taken my sister and made her into a world-class wide receiver.
Ironically, that segment sponsored by John Elway Cadillac in Park Meadows, Colorado's #1 Cadillac dealer.